Hey guys, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? I'm hanging in. Yesterday, I had a humongous migraine all day long. It wouldn't leave. I did my pressure points, didn't work. I took a nap, it didn't work. I had the kitties join me too. That didn't work. Every time I do a video, by the way, like military helicopters are flying over my house all day long. I then had to reach for the Excedrin because it just wouldn't go away. So I didn't do any videos yesterday. I do apologize to those that like to see my like something once a day. Couldn't really open my eyes, couldn't really function. Sucked. Also had a headache all night. I was supposed to drop my car off to be fixed because credit cards are great, and didn't get to do that either today because I'm still out of it. Dante, the Inferno. Going to continue on reading. I also did some oracle readings earlier today, so go check those out. They're really good. If you're into that stuff. If not, that's okay. Please make sure you hit that like button. You subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I put a lot of content out, and that's because I'm not getting any love donations, which is fine. But liking helps get more people in my channel, subscribing, sharing, whatever have you. I keep saying it each month. I somehow pull it off, but that won't last forever. Because of my situation. I don't have a job. I consider this like self-employment, but this is not a financially sound employed job. So I need help. I do. I'm not trying to stress over it. I'm trying to put it out into the universe that I will find something, and if not, I have to move. Whatever the case is, each month, I don't know how long my internet will stay on for. Therefore, I cram in a lot of stuff so that you guys have material if I go bye-bye. And that will be a bye-bye for until I get income. So I left off on Canto 17, and now we're going to read Canto 18. Once again, please forgive me for mispronouncing words. My teeth are loose, and I need to get to the store to get glue that goes from here all the way back there, because that's one piece that keeps dropping and falling. And pronouncing certain words are not easy. Talking isn't easy all the time. I don't have back teeth either, so it makes some words not easy. I'm also dyslexic. Not excuses, by the way, but be mindful. There is a place in hell called Melbolg, wholly of stone and of iron color, as is the circle that round it turns, right in the middle of the field malign. There yawns a well exceeding wide and deep, of which its place the structure will recount. Round, then, is the enclosure which remains between the well and foot of the high, hard bank, and has distinct in valleys 10 its bottom, as where from the protection of the walls, many and many moats surround the castles, The part in which they are a figure forms, just such an image those presented there. And as about such strongholds from their gates unto the outer bank are little bridges. So from the precipice's base did crags project, which intersected dikes and moats, unto the well that trunicates and collects them within this place, down shaken from the back of Grayon, we find us, the poet, held to the left. I move on behind. Upon my right hand, I beheld my new anguish, new torments and new welders of the lash, wherewith the foremost Volga was replete. Down at the bottom were the sinners naked. This side, the middle came, they facing us. Beyond it, with us, but the greater steps, even as the Romans for a mighty host. The year of Jubilee, upon the bridge, have chosen a mode to pass the people over, for all upon one side towards the castle. Their faces have and go unto St. Peter's. On the other side, they go towards the mountain, this side and that along the livid stone. Beheld I horde demons with great scourges, who cruelly were beating them behind. Ah me, how they did make them lift their legs at the first blows, and soothed not any one, the second waited for, nor for the third. While I was going on, my eyes by one encountered were, and straight I said, already with sight of this one I am not unfed. Therefore I stayed my feet to make him out. And with me the sweet guide came to stand, and to my going back somewhat back assented. And he, the scourged one, thought to hide himself, lowering his face, but little it availed him. For said I, thou that cast down thine eyes, if false are not the features which thou bearest, thou art vindico cosimico, cacasimico. It's a very long Italian name, and I'm really good with Italian names, by the way. I live on Staten Island. But what doth bring thee to such pungent sauces? And he to me unwillingly I tell it. What forces me thy utterance distinct, which makes me recollect the ancient world. I was the one who the fair Goesia induced to grant the wishes of the Marquis. However, the shameless story may be told. Not the sole Bolognese am I who weeps here. Nigh, rather, is this place so full of them, that not so many tongues today are taught, twixt Reno and Savina, to say pipa, sipa. And if thereof thou wishest pledge or proof, bring to thy mind are of a various heart. While speaking in this manner with his scourge, a demon smote him and said, get thee gone, pander, there are no women here for coin. I joined myself again unto my escort. Thereafter with footsteps few we came to where a crag projected from the bank. This very easily did we ascend, and turning to the right along its ridge, from those eternal circles we departed. When we were there, where it is hollowed out beneath, to give a passage to the scourged, the guy said, wait and see that on thee strike the vision of those other evil born. of whom thou hast not yet beheld the faces, because together with us they have gone. From the old bridge we looked upon the train, which towards us came upon the other borders, and which the scourges in like manner smite. And the good master, without my inquiring, said to me, see that tall one who is coming, and for his pain seems not to shed a tear? Still, what a royal aspect he retains. That Jason is, who by his heart and cunning the Colchians of the Ram made destitute. He by the Isle of Lemnos passed along, after the daring women pitless, had unto death devoted all their males. There with his token and with ornate words did he deceive Hypsipyle, the maiden. I know I did not say that right. Who first herself had all the rest deceived. There did he leave her pregnant and forlorn. Such sin unto such punishment condemns him. And also for Medea is vengeance done. With him go those who in such wise deceive. And this sufficient be of the first valley, to know, and those that it in its jaw it holds. We were already where the narrow path crosses athwart the second dike and forms of that of a buttress for another arc. Thence we heard people who are making moan, and the next Bologna snorting with their muzzles, and with their palms beating upon themselves. The margin were entrusted with a mold. By exhilaration from below the sticks there, and with the eyes and nostrils wages war. The bottom is so deep, no place suffice to give us sight of it without ascending the arches back, where most the crag impedes. Thither we came, and thence down in the moat I saw a people smothered in a filth that out of human privies seemed to flow. And whilst below there with my eye I search, I saw one with his head so foul with odor, who was not clear if he were clerk or layman. He screamed at me, wherefore art thou so eager to look at me more than the other fool ones? And I to him, because if I remember, I have already seen thee with dry hair. And thou art Alicio Intermini of Lucia. Therefore I thee more than all the others. And here thereon belaboring his pumpkin. The flatteries have submerged me here below. Within my tongue was never surfeited. Then said to me the guide, see that thou thrust thy visage somewhat further in advance, that with thy eyes thou will the face attain of that uncleanly and disheveled drab, who there doth scratch herself with filthy nails, and couches now, and now on foot is standing. Theas, the harlot, is it, who replied unto her paramour, when he said, have I great gratitude for thee, nigh marvelous, and here without let our sight be satisfied. I got through it, but that was rough. Canto 19. O Simon Magus, O forlorn disciples, ye who the things of God which ought to be, the brides of holiness, rapaciously for silver and for gold do prostitute. Now it behooves for you the trumpet sound, because in this third Bologna ye abide. We had already on the following tomb ascended to the portion of the crag, which over the middle of the moat hangs plume. Wisdom supreme, oh, how great art thou showest in heaven, in earth, and in the evil world. And with what justice doth thy power distribute. I saw upon the sides and on the bottom the livid stone with perforations filled, all of one size, and every one was round. To me less ample seemed thy knot, nor greater than those that in my beautiful St. John are fashioned for the places of the baptizers, and one of which, not many years ago, I broke for someone who was drowning in it. Be this a seal all men to undeceive. Out of the mouth of each one there protruded the feet of a transgressor, and the legs up to the calf. The rest within remained. In all of them the souls were both on fire. Wherefore the joints so violently quivered, they would have snapped asunder withs and bands, even as the flame of cantankerous things is wont to move upon the outer surface only. So likewise was it there from heel to point. Master, who is that one who withers himself more than his other comrades quivering? I said, and who is a redder flame is sucking? And he to me, if thou wilt have me bear thee down there along that bank which lowest lies, from him thou'lt know his errors in himself. And I, what pleases thee to me is pleasing. Thou art my Lord, and knowest that I depart not from thy desire, and knowest what is not spoken. Straightway upon the fourth dike we arrived. We turned, and on the left-hand side descended down to the bottom full of holes and narrow. And the good master yet from off his haunch disposed me not, till the hole he brought me, of him who so lamented with his shanks. Whoever thou art that standest upside down, O doleful soul, implanted like a stake, to say began I, if thou canst speak out. I stood even as the friar who is confessing, the false assassin who, when he is fixed, recalls him so that death may be delayed. And he cried out, dost thou stand there already? Dost thou stand there already, Boniface? By many years the record lied to me. Art thou so early satiate with the wealth, for which thou didst not fear to take by fraud the beautiful lady, and then work her woe? Such I became, as people are who stand, not comprehending what is answered them, as if be mocked, and know not how to answer. Then said Vilglorus, say to him straightway, I am not he thou thinkest. And I replied, as was imposed on me, whereat the spirit withered with both his feet. Then sighing with the voice of lamentation, said to me, then what wantest thou of me? If who I am thou carest so much to know, that thou on that account hast crossed the bank, know that I vested was with the great mantle, and truly was I son of the she-bear, so eager to advance the cubs, that wealth above, and here myself I pocketed. Beneath my head the others are dragged down, who have preceded me in simony, flattened along the fissure of the rock. Below there I shall likewise fall, whenever that one shall come, who I believe thou wast. What time this sudden question I proposed, but longer I my feet already toast. And here have I been in this way upside down, that he will planted stay with reddened feet. For after he shall come of fouler deed, From towards the west, a pasture without law, such as befits to cover him and me. New Jason will be, of whom we read in Maccabees, and as his king was plain. So he who governs France shall be to this one. I do not know if I were here too bold. That him I answered only in this metry. I pray thee, tell me now, how great a treasure our Lord demanded of St. Peter first, before he put the keys into his keeping. Truly, he nothing asked but follow me, nor Peter nor the rest asked of Matthias silver or gold, when by lot was chosen, unto the place the guilty soul had lost. Therefore stay here, for thou art justly punished, and keep safeguard over the ill-gotten money, which caused thee to be vigilant against Charles, and were it not that still forbids at me. The reverence for the key superlative, thou hast in keeping in the gladsome life. I would make use of words more grievous still, because your Eucharist afflicts the world, trampling the good and lifting the departed. The evangelist you pastors had in mind, when she who sitteth upon my waters, to fornicate with kings by him was seen. The same who with the 7 heads was born, and power and strength from the 10 horns received, so long as virtue to her spouse was pleasing. Ye have made yourselves a god of gold and silver, and from the idolater how differ ye? Save that he one, and ye 100 worship. Ah, Constantine, of how much ill was mother, not thy conversion, but the marriage doer, which the first wealthy father took from thee. And while I sang to him such notes as thee, either that anger or that conscience stung him. He struggled violently with both his feet. I think it sooth that it my leader pleased. With such contented lips, he listens ever unto the sound of the true words expressed. Therefore, with both his arms, he took me up. And when he had me upon his breast, remounted by the way where he descended, nor did he tire to have me collapse to him, but bore me to the summit of the ark, which from the 4th dyke to the 5th is passage. There tenderly he lay his burden down, tenderly on the crag, uneven and steep, that would have been hard passage for the goats. Thence was unveiled to me another valley. Canto 20. Of a new pain behooves me to make verses and give material to the 20th canto. Of the first song, which is of the submerged, I was already thoroughly disposed to peer down into the uncovered depth, which bathed itself with tears of agony, and people saw I through the circular valley, silent and weeping, coming at the pace which in this world the Latins assume. As lower down my thought descended on them, wondrously each one seemed to be distorted, from chin to the beginning of the chest. For towards the reins the countenance was turned, and backward it behooved them to advance, as to look forward had been taken from them, perchance indeed by violence of palsy. Someone has been through thus wholly turned away, but I never saw it, nor believed it could be. As God may let thee, reader, gather fruit from this thy reading, think now for thyself how I could ever keep my face unmoistened, when our own image near me I befell, distorted so the weeping of the eyes. Along the fissure bathed the hinder parts. Truly I wept, leaning upon a peak of the hard crag, so that my escort said to me, art thou too of the other fools? Here pity lives when it's in wholly dead. Who is a great reprobate than he who feels compassion at the doom divine? Lift up thy head, and see for whom opened the earth before the Thebans' eyes. Wherefore they all cried, Whither rushest thou, Amphiaraus? Why dost leave the war? And downward cease be he not to fall amain. As far as Minos, who lays hold on all, see, he has made a bosom of his shoulders, because he wished to see too far before him. Behind he looks, and backward makes his way. Behold Tiresias, who his semblance changed, when from a male a female he became, his members being all of them transformed, and afterwards was forced to strike once more the two entangled serpents with his rod. He could have again his manly plumes, that Aaron's is, who backs the other's belly, who is the hills of Luni, there where grubs the Carices, whose houses underneath, among the marbles white cavern had, for his abode whence to behold the stars, and see, the view was not cut off from him. And she there, who is covering up her breasts, which thou beholdest not, with loosened tresses, and on that side has all the hairy skin, as Manto, who made quest through many lands, afterwards tarried there where I was born. Thereof I would thou list to me a little, after her father had from life departed, and the city of Bacchus had become enslaved. She a long season wandered through the world. Above, in beauteous Italy, lies a lake, at the Alps' foot that shuts in Germany. Over Troll, and has the name Banico. By 1,000 springs, I think, and more, is bathed. Twixt Garda and Val Comanica, Pininio, with water that grows stagnant in the lake. Midway a place is where the Trident pastor, and he of Brasetica and Veronci meet, give his blessings, if he had passed that way. Sitieth Porchesia, fortress fair and strong, to front the Bassians and the Bergamasks, where round about the bank descendeth lowest. There of necessity must fall whatever. In bosom of Benico cannot stay, and grows a river down through perdant pastures. Soon as the water doth begin to run, no more Benico is it called, but Minicio, far at Governo, where it falls to Po. Not far it runs, before it finds a plain, in which it spreads itself and makes it marshy. And often 'tis wont in summer to be sickly. Passing that way, the virgin pitless land in the middle of the fen descried, untilled and naked of inhabitants. There to escape all human intercourse, she with her servants laid her arts to practice and lived in her empty body there. The men thereafter who were scattered around, collected in their place, which was made strong by the lagoon it had on every side. They built their city over those dead bones, and after her, who first the place selected, Mantua named it without other omen. Its people once therein more crowded here. The stupidity of Casalodi from Pintamonte had received a seat. Therefore I caution thee, if ever thou hearest originate my city otherwise, no falsehood may thy verity defraud. And I, my master, thy discourses are to me so certain, and so take my faith, that unto me the rest would be spent coals. But tell me of the people who are passing, if anyone noteworthy thou beholdest, for only unto that my mind reverts. Then said he to me, He who from the cheek thrusts out his beard upon his worthy shoulders was at the time when Greece was void of males, so that there scarce remained one in the cradle. In Agur and with Calchas gave that moment in Aurelus when to serve the first cable. Ephusiolus his name was, and so sings my lofty tragedy in some part or another. That knowest thou well, who knowest the whole of it. The next, who is so slender in the flanks, was Michael Scott, who of variety of magical illusions knew the game. Behold Guido Bonacci, behold Asante, who now unto his leather and his thread would fain he struck, but he too late repents. Behold the wretched ones who left the needle, the spool and rock made from fortune tellers. They wrought their magic spells with herbs and image, but come now for already holds the confines of both the hemispheres of under Seville, touches the ocean wave, Cain and the thorns, and yesternight the moon was round already. Thou showedest and shouldest remember well it did not harm thee from time to time within the forest steep. Thus spake he to me, and we walk the while. Canto 21. From bridge to bridge, thus speaking other things, of which my comedy cares not to sing. We came along and held the summit, when we halted to behold another fisher of Melbalog and other vain lamnets, and I beheld it marvelously dark, as in the arsenal of the Venetians. Boils in the winter the tenacious pitch, to smear their unsound vessels over again. For sell they not, and instead thereof, one makes his vessel new, and one recocks the rib of that which many a voyage has made. One hammers at the prow, at the stern. Thus one makes oars, and that one cordage twists. Another mends the mainsail and the mizzen. Thus not by fire, but by thy art divine, was boiling down below there a dense pitch, which upon every side the bank beleamed. I saw it, but I did not see within it aught be the bubbles that the boiling raises, and all swell up and residue compressed. The while below thee fixedly I gazed, my leader crying out, beware, beware, drew me upon himself from where I stood. Then I turned around as one who is impatient to see what it behooves him to escape, and whom a sudden terror doth unman, who, while he looks, delays not his departure. And I beheld behind us a black devil, running along upon the crag approach. Ah, how ferocious was he in his aspect, and how he seemed to me in action ruthless, with open wings and light upon his feet, his shoulders which sharp pointed were and high. A sinner did encumber with both haunches, and he clutched the sinews of the feet. From off our bridge he said, O male branch, behold one of the elders of Saint Zita. Plunge him beneath, for I return for others, unto that town which is well furnished with them. All there are baraters, except Baratu. No, into yes, for money there is exchanged. He hurled him down and over the hard crag, turned round, and never was a mastiff loosened in such hurry to pursue a thief. The other sank and rose again, face downward, but the demons under cover of the bridge cried, here the Sancto Volato has no place. He swims one otherwise than in the Sercho. Therefore, if for our gaffes thou wishest not, do not uplift thyself above the pitch. They seized him then with more than 100 rakes. They said, it here behooves thee to dance covered. Thou, if thou canst, thou secretly mayest piffler. Not otherwise the cooks their scallions make. Immerse into the middle of the cauldron the meat with hooks, so that it may not float. Said the good master to me, that it be not apparent thou art here, crouch thyself down behind a jag, that thou mayest have some screen, and for no outrage that is done to me. Be thou afraid, because these things I know, for once before was I in such a scuffle. Then he passed on beyond the bridge's head, and as upon the sixth bank he arrived, need was for him to have a safe fast front, with the same fury and the same uproar, as dogs leaped out upon a merchant, who on a sudden begs whoever he stops. They issued from beneath the little bridge, and turned against him all their grappling irons. He cried out, be none of you malignant. Before these hooks of yours lays hold of me, let one of you step forward who may hear me, and then take counsel as to grappling me. They all cried, let Malconda go. Whereat one started and rest stood still, and he came to say, who avails it? Thinkest thou, Malconda, to behold me? Advance into this place, my master said, safe hereto from all your skill offense, without the will divine and fate auspicious. Let me go on, for it in heaven is willed, that I another show this savage road. Then was his arrogance so humbled in him, that he let fall his grapnel at his feet, and to the other said, now strike him not. And unto me, my guide, O thou, who sittest among the splinters of the bridge, crouched down, securely now return to me again. Wherefore I started and came swiftly to him, and all the devils forward thrust themselves, so that I feared they would not keep their compact. And thus beheld I once afraid the soldiers, whom issued under safeguard from Caprona, seeing themselves among so many foes. Close did I press myself with all my person, besides my leader, and turned not thy eyes from off the countenance which was not good. Lowered their rakes, and wilt thou have me hit him? They said to another one, on the rump, and answered, yes, see thou nick him with it. But the same demon who was holding parley with my conductor turned him very quickly and said, be quiet, Scaramanga, Malion. Then said to us, you can go, you can no further go forward upon this crag, because is lying all shattered at the bottom of the sixth arch. And if it shall doth please you to go onward, pursue your way along upon this rock. Near is a crag that yields a path. Yesterday 5 hours late than this hour. 1266 years was complete, that here the way was broken. I send in that direction some of mine, to see if anyone doth err himself. Go ye with them, for they will not be vicious. Step forward, Al Camino and Calabrina. Began he to cry out, and thus Calzanazo and Barbara Sigia did thou guide the 10. Come forward, Liberaco and Dragazanzo, and Tusk, guys with the names, Siriato and Graphic Cane, and Farfellow, and made Rubicante. Search ye all around the boiling pitch. Let these be safe as far as the next crag, that all behold unbroken passes over the dens. O me, what is my master, what I see? Pray let us go, I said, without an escort. If thou knowest how, since for myself I ask none, if thou art observant, as thou won't be, dost thou not see that they do gnash their teeth, and with their brows are threatening woe to us? And he said to me, I will not have thee fear. Let them gnash on according to their fancy, because they do it for those boiling wrenches. Along the left-hand dike they wheeled about. But first had each one thrust his tongue between his teeth towards their leader for a signal, and he made a trumpet of his rump. So I'm going to leave that there. Very interesting. Scary. Demons. What's going on in the world today? Gold and silver. Spiraling down we go and go. Spiraling down we go. I hope you enjoyed 18 through 21 of the Inferno. I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.